Hey guys, welcome to week 2. I'm going to be giving you some information on this week's reading in All Quiet on the Western Front, some more information on a paper we're going to be starting, a literature analysis, and then finally a little bit about MLA formatting we're going to be starting. So first off, our book All Quiet on the Western Front. This week you're going to be reading chapters 5, 6, and 7. It's 3 chapters, but they are very, very lengthy chapters, and so that's why there's only 3 of them this week. It works to about the same amount of reading as you all had last week. So you're going to be reading those 3 chapters, and then you will see the discussion questions, again, are posted on Google Classroom, so you will answer and submit those as well before our discussion on Friday. I want you to note a couple of things in this group of chapter to help us with our discussion. First off, in my book, I'm not sure what page it will be for you all if you're using the PDF, but I'm using a paperback copy. And in chapter 5, the men, Paul and all the other old schoolmates, are talking about what they would be doing if the war had already ended. Where would they be? What jobs would they engage in? And Albert makes quite a profound statement here, and I want you guys to think about this while you're reading this week. It'll come up again in discussion on Friday. Albert expresses it. The war has ruined us for everything. Now I want you to think about that statement. The war has ruined us for everything. And they've been talking about family life, social, work life. Has the war really ruined them for all those things? Or is this just said through emotions in the heat of the moment? So I want you to really think about that statement and ponder that this week. I will also warn you, in chapter 6, it's a description of quite a bloody battle between the German and the French as they're going back and forth between the front lines and troops are moving. Just wanted to give you a heads up on that. There are quite vivid descriptions of battle wounds and injuries and things that happened during that. Also, I want you to take note of, in chapter 7, there's going to be a section that we're skipping over as a class. It's just a few pages. It's a scene that is written in the book. However, we're not going to be reading about it. It's rather inappropriate, and it does nothing to add to the way we are studying this book. So we're just going to be skipping those pages. And so I'd like you to skip from page 143, where it starts, "The houses in which we are billeted lie near the canal," and skip the pages until page 151. You'll pick up when Paul says, "I am called to the orderly room." There will be no discussion questions for that. There will be no quiz information on that. It does nothing to add to our study of the book, so we will not be taking a look at that section. Then in chapter 7, Paul is going to go home on leave, and he's going to start out having a difficult time, but there is quite a humorous scene in there with his old schoolmaster. And so he has now been conscripted to join the army, and so he is training to be a soldier, and it's a neat scene with he and Paul and the interaction that happens then at that point. However, the chapter ends overall on a really sort of dark note. Paul finishes chapter 7 by saying, "I ought never to have come on leave." So despite being able to see his family, his sister, his friends, people around town, his father, even this old schoolmaster, this interaction, he comes away wishing that he had never even come home again. And so I want you to examine why you think that is, why you feel as though Paul makes that statement. You're going to be doing some inferencing. It's not going to come out and tell you directly in the reading. You're going to have to read between the lines and draw some conclusions. Next, you're going to be starting this week looking at MLA formatting. MLA is what's going to be used for a lot of your freshman English classes, and so we're going to get a heads up on it now. This week, you're going to be working on citing our book, All Quiet on the Western Front, and creating your initial page for the paper. We're going to be doing a literary analysis, which means you're going to be looking more at the thematic units or the thematic chunks of the book and how they work together, and examples of that from your literature. So, keep in your mind thinking of bigger themes that we've been experiencing. For example, the futility of war, feelings of just that life is short and what we have is inadequate. So be thinking about some of the larger themes you've been experiencing this book to get your brains working, because next week we're going to start with a thesis statement and rough draft. You're going to be submitting that thesis statement to me next week. So just keep that in mind, along with the MLA, some practice in doing that there. There's an additional video set up for that. The end of the week, you have scheduled a quiz on these chapters. It's pretty much so not a lot of inferencing on that, although there is some, that you had to have read these chapters to be able to get a grade I think you would walk away with and be pleased with. But that's what we've got coming up this week. And if you have any questions while you're working, please don't hesitate to contact me through email or text, and I will get back with you as soon as I can and explain anything to you that you're having difficulty with. So I look forward to seeing you for our discussion on Friday. Have a great week.